Hey everybody, I'm going to go over the supplies for Art 40, just so you can visually see what everything looks like before you actually buy it. Alright, the first thing that is there is a clipboard. So I'm going to slide this in front right here. The kind of clipboard that I really like is this one right here, and if you look at it, the clips that I prefer are these ones that kind of snap up and down. The ones that kind of have these pull-ups, those are the best ones to get. I'm a big fan of these sketchbooks right here that actually kind of fold flat. What you're really looking for in a sketchbook is to make sure that when you open it, right, that the pages don't want to close back up on you. Next thing I want you to buy are the Copic markers, or Copic markers, depends on how you pronounce it. They come in a set. They look a little bit like this. If you open them, you're gonna see right here, they actually have every single value of gray. You can get the set if you want. This is actually in the wrong container. The set actually looks like this. You can get any kind of markers, but what I do want you to get is to make sure that you have the neutral grays. The value should be the 10, the 50%, and the 90%. So you should at least have 3 markers in hand. If you can get a 4th, I would definitely get the 4th. If you want to buy the set and you can afford it, please do that. Paints come in a lot of different brands. I'm going to kind of walk you guys through this. We have Liquitex, you have Holbein, you have Sennelier, and you have Golden. And I like all these brands. These are probably my 4 favorites. But for this class, we're going to be using Golden Colors. Okay, this is a great color to use to actually mix all of your color theory stuff with, to do your color wheels, your grayscales, and everything else. So the only brand that I'm going to allow you to buy for this class are these Golden brands, okay? There are 2 types of sizes that I want you to kind of think about. The first one is this 2-ounce size that we're going to get in most of the colors. The 5-ounce, this is the 2-ounce. If they sell a 5-ounce or 7-ounce, I do want you to get those in the white and black for sure. If you look at the syllabus, it will state all the other stuff. For all the major colors, you can pretty much just get a 2-ounce, and then I've made notes for which ones I want you to buy a couple of tubes of, okay? So maybe the yellows and some other ones. For brushes, my favorite brushes, and the ones that are gonna go the farthest, are these University round brushes. They are red, right? They say University on them, just right there. And the number is actually on the brush itself, as you can see. They actually have different handle sizes. I'm not really specific as to which handle size you want to get, but if you do want more control, the smaller handle is better. This is all stipulated in the syllabus, but be aware, these are the brushes that you have to get. These are the ones that are going to last the full semester. They are the University Winsor Newton brushes. You were going to get a series of flats like this and a series of rounds like this. Next thing on the list is a palette, and you've been seeing them sitting right here. This is a tiny little palette. For those of you that don't have too much space, maybe this is what you want to get. Butcher palettes are basically like metal palettes. They look exactly like this. They have a little bit of depth to them so they can hold some fluid and stay wet. This is my larger one. I've had this for over 10 years, so I would recommend to just invest in a palette that you can keep. It's going to last you a long time, that you can wash out almost after every single use. This palette is maybe $10 or $12. This is the one that I'd recommend, but I do list a couple of others that are there as well. I don't care what kind of bucket you get. I have a small red bucket that I use. You can get something a little bit smaller than this, but I wouldn't get anything too much smaller than this. Don't use cups. Cups get dirty really quick. You end up refilling the bucket quite often or the cup quite often, because it's gonna pollute all your water, which means it's actually gonna pollute your paints as well. And when you're making a swatch, or you're trying to create a color wheel, you want to make sure that your water is clean. So bigger buckets mean that the water will actually last a little bit longer, actually less work in the long run, okay? You're gonna want a small plastic spray bottle. I have this, it helps to re-wet the surface of the paint. Nothing too fancy. Any size is fine with me. I don't really care what you get. You're gonna need to also get a ruler. This is a corked back ruler, which means that on the back side, it has cork on it, which keeps it from sliding. And then this one goes all the way up to 18 inches. Please make sure you do get an 18-inch ruler. You're gonna be using it a lot to cut your boards and such. You're gonna need to get an X-Acto knife. My favorite X-Acto knife is this guy right here, the X-Acto Gripster. It allows me to unloosen the blade from the backside instead of cutting my fingers in the front. So I can loosen it back here. It has that soft rubber grip that I can hold onto it, and I can take the blade out fairly easily, and it slides back in fairly easily. Your X-Acto is going to need some extra blades, so make sure you get a pack of 5 number 11 X-Acto blades. Okay, they will look just like this. Just like this little guy right there. Okay, get yourself some painter's tape. My favorite brand is this blue, let me flip it over so you can read it, blue edge lock tape. It's from Home Depot. It is a little bit more expensive, but this will last you the whole semester. You want to get yourself paper towels. Make sure your paper towels do not have anything printed on them. We're going to be using them for many things. You're going to need a white eraser. I have in front of me the Staedtler Mars plastic eraser, which is just simply that. It's a white eraser, and the mono white eraser as well. One or the other will work. You don't need to get both. If you want to get a kneaded eraser, you can. A kneaded eraser is like a flexible eraser that you can form. The other thing you're going to want to get is a pencil. Now, these are my favorite brands of pencils. Staedtler makes a good pencil. So does Faber-Castell, which is this green one right here. Druent is fine as well. And then there are these generic pencils made by Sakura. I think if you're going to get a pencil, you should probably stick with these two. And then you want to get an HB or a 2H pencil. Stick with that number range, because that's what you're going to need to use. You're also going to want to have a pencil sharpener. I like these small metal ones. I always test them out in the store. If you have an electric one, that can work as well. It's totally up to you. Now, I have my art bin. It is a little box that carries a whole bunch of stuff. It has 2 levels. This one I just used for my pencils. You can use an art bin if you want to buy an official box, or you can just find a box at Walmart that will suit all of your needs or whatever. It can be a fishing box, a tackle box, a box that you make out of wood yourself. It is totally up to you. This Strathmore mixed media board is the paper that we're going to be using. If you look at the paper description, it says 400 series, Strathmore mixed media. Make sure that you get that, and make sure that it's at least 15 sheets. Okay, this is the 18 by 24 size. That is what you're going to need for this class. Canson tracing paper. 9 by 12 is perfect. It should look like this. This little pad right here has 50 sheets. You will not use all 50 sheets, but you will use plenty of them. That should be more than enough for the whole semester. Spray mount or glue sticks, those are probably the 2 most important things, because you're going to be adhering those to actually create your color wheel, right? And your swatches and everything else. So I'm going to show you guys how to use spray mount correctly in a future video, but I definitely want you guys to make sure that you get the right brand. So if you're going to get spray mount, Scotch spray mount is what I'd recommend. If you're going to get a glue stick, make sure it is not your generic Elmer's glue stick, but that it's a high quality glue stick that will last the whole semester. Lastly, for your projects, you're going to need illustration board. I recommend 2 brands, the Crescent illustration board or the Strathmore illustration board, which if you look right here, you're going to see it has like a little logo. We're going to be using the illustration board for all of our assignments. This is just a demo that I did for a couple of semesters ago. You can see that we're using the tape to tape things off. We're using the illustration board to paint on. So if you don't have an illustration board, you can't finish your projects. So do make sure you have at least 2 18 by 24 sheets of illustration board. Make sure you get the thick kind, not the thin kind. If you guys have any questions, hit me up.